Hey guys, what's going on? I know a lot of you are thinking that I'm doing a live music stream. We'll have to do that some other time. But today I brought in Michael B because he basically forced me at gunpoint to go live tonight. Like it's some obligation that I have to do.
Welcome back.
Maybe it's a music stream. Those are in the chat. If you want to do a music stream, we can do that on a different day. I'll pick a day. You know what? I've been thinking about this. I do want to do the music streams more often, but I want to schedule it. And I want to be like, okay, Friday late at night or something like that, we're going to do a music stream. And I tell everyone like a week in advance. And then and then it's not a surprise. And then we do the live stream and that's it. But today, I want to talk about this week. And the only big thing that came out this week, there was actually nothing. Nothing interesting came out this week at all. What do you think, Michael B?
That's not true. Just nothing interesting if you don't like AtGames.
No, I'm kidding. So the AtGames news is, for me, left field, surprise. And I want to talk about what I've been thinking about the last couple of days as I've seen different content creators cover AtGames. I have some theories of why they're doing this. And I'd like to get your take on it, Mike, those in the audience as well. We have not spoken ahead of time what this is. So those of you who don't know, this is Wagner's Tech Doc website, and it has a pretty good breakdown of all of the information that came out for the AtGames new NOD release. So February 13th, this information started to be publicized. The long and short of it is they've actually renewed a ton of products. So there's going to be a new arcade machine. There's going to be a new pinball machine. There's a new handheld. And we don't really know the price, but we know the shipping will be very high. That's like already... No, I'm teasing. But here's what I'm going to cut to the chase. Here's what I think is happening. And now we got Mr. Beacon coming to hang out with us.
Ooh, I don't want that.
I just love sitting on top of Mike. That's all.
Why is your crotch so up in the shot? Like everybody
I
look
be like
I'm weird.
I'm standing on a stool. Isn't that fun? I'm standing on a stool. What? You could have some fun with your arcade.
Welcome to B Squats, the new weekly show where B squats on something new.
Right. So I want to jump right into this idea that I had and get your guys' take, get those in the audience take on it. So first of all, the announcement was awesome. If you want more details on it, there's a ton of content out there. For every single piece, there's all these details. What we don't know is like the price and availability, but it's all like coming soon this year. Here's what I think happened. COVID happened, and because of the increase in inflation and prices, it was necessary for AtGames to increase their prices. We've seen a little bit of that already. And the timing worked out pretty good. It's time to build another shipment of their products, and if you got to raise the price anyway, might as well give everyone what they're demanding. So why not just you got to raise the price anyway? I bet someone there said, what if we go better on everything? Do our Pro, our Gold machine. This is AtGames' version of coming out with a higher quality product, higher parts, but it's going to cost you more. Think of the price increase we got on the Arcade 1-Up Pro Edition, $1,000. Basically, what's hiding inside that is some increased costs, maybe some, what's the right word I'm looking for? A lot of profit, maybe. Markup, yeah. But they're giving us 4K, and I have a lot of questions about what exactly 4K means. It's also, they're giving us 4KP. Does that mean it's 2160p? So you're probably familiar with 720, 1080p. 2160p is traditionally what we call 4K, but they're calling it 4KP. Are they doing that for some trademark, or what exactly is 4KP?
So everybody knows that the CEO of AtGames is PK. I think it's just an inside joke that it's KP.
KP.
I'm just sad I don't have a drink in my hand because that got really technical and I had to break it down just in my head a second ago. Damn it. But yeah, I don't know the differences. And for me, 4K gaming hasn't been something I've truly experienced yet. So I don't know if it's one of those things you have to see it to believe it, right? Like, is it that much better? Especially with the main target games being retro gaming. I can see pinball being a really big improvement,
Yeah.
but I still have questions about ALU.
I'll throw my ideas out there. Do I sound okay? I feel like I'm very morphed here.
You sound good to me.
I
Okay,
think you're fine.
So I think, again, they just wanted to put the option in because they know with both devices, maybe their own software isn't necessarily what's being played. So with the Legends Ultimate 4K, this gives you the ability to hook a PC up to it and with Steam play the newest fighting games and other arcadey style games you want to play on an arcade machine in 4K in the highest resolution possible. So we've got Street Fighter 6 coming out. How cool would it be to play it on a arcade machine? Now you can plug your PC in, BYOG, and play it all the way up to 4K. So I'm thinking that's the reasoning for that. Of course, they also added that beautiful bit LCD as a stock component now.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the honest reason why they went to 4K is because they're upgrading their pinball to 4K. And you can see right on the front of the machine, although it is subject to change, their pinball ecosystem is AtGames' main concern right now. So I do believe the big reason for making the ALU 4K is so you can play pinball games in 4K on that machine.
Yeah, I get that. And I think they might also be doing something where, okay, they've come out with all these different products and they have had a couple different chipsets that they've used, but then they're like, we're refreshing everything all at the same time. So they go to their manufacturer and be like, this year, we're going to be producing 10,000 or whatever the number is, arcade machines that are a whole new stock. We're going to do the same thing for the pinball. We got a handheld that's coming out. Where can we find optimizations in the process? So you could say, you know what? We're going to use exactly the same chip across the board, which means if we need 4K for the pinball machine, then we're going to do pinball. We're going to do a 4K machine on the arcade machine as well. And we'll market that. And just exact for your reasons that you're talking about, you can sideload, or you can connect a PC. What's up, Carl?
What's going on, fellas?
Carl, that's your bedtime shirt. You strolled right out of bed and onto the stream, didn't you?
I like the silk jammies, though.
You know I wear silk to bed, Michael. Where you been?
Yeah, here's what's interesting. So we got 4K is basically a non-starter for me. Really don't care. They get a deal on the chips. May as well do 4K screens. So here's my thought is, this is where my mind goes, because for my job, I build TV apps, and they're in various formats, 720p, 1080, 4K, HDR, Dolby Vision, all these different formats. And you have a panel that's capable of doing things, but the actual app itself that's running the game selection menus, I'm curious what they're going to do. Like, is that going to be a 4K app? To my knowledge, like an Apple TV runs 4K 60p, like the UI. I'm not talking about what you watch. I'm talking about the actual, that means all the artwork for the movies have to be like 3x, 4x resolution to look good on that TV. And most of the other manufacturers of televisions and stuff don't do that. It's like you have a 4K TV, that UI is in 1080. It's only when you click the movie is the movie in high quality. So what is AtGames going to do? Are they making like the whole experience 4K? Like, are those images going to be rich and just beautiful in your face?
Well, there's a new UI at the very least, right, for those with the upgraded chipsets. But they did provide upgraded boards for people with the old screen. So that means they have to work with the old screen resolutions and not all be 4K. Yeah, on the nose. Oh, yeah. I love it when you do that, Mike.
Yeah.
Can you put your crotch back in the screen? Oh, yeah, on the nose.
So then the next thing is, what about the games? Okay, so probably no one cares about 4K gaming.
Oh, well, hold on here now. I'm super excited to play
for
Bad
retro
Dudes in
gaming.
4K.
For retro. Let's say you're
serious.
You're playing Pitfall, right? You care about Pitfall on a 24-inch screen, but it's going to actually be 4K.
So, a couple of people commented on my video and they said, "What's the point in having a 4K 24-inch monitor? Will you really get the difference of it? Does a monitor need to be 40, 50 inches before you really get the benefit of 4K?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Well,
thought, but I don't know. I could be, again, I haven't experienced a 24-inch 4K monitor, so
I haven't either.
I'm skeptical.
it's a really good point. And then what about when you're that close to the machine? A lot of times we think of 24-inch, 32-inch, 4K. You're thinking, I'm watching television.
Mhm.
But I mean, I sit in front of my computer, and I have two computers. One that's a non 4K screen, and it's only a 27-inch screen. And then I stand in my main office where I work every day. That's a 27-inch 4K screen, and there's a difference.
Big difference.
And it's the texture, the quality of the monitor. So I could see a scenario where, and this is, I think, in the emulation, like, are they upscaling? Are they doing something interesting in the game where what's scaling up? Is it the actual SoC? Is it outputting 4K and the emulator is doing the scale up? Or is it actually outputting only 720p? Like, they're lying to us. Like, the PCB is actually 720, 60 frames a second. And then they have a scaler that's going up to the panel, and it's just, 4xing it up, or however many it is between 720 and 4K, right?
For the older games, that's what I anticipate they're doing.
But MG is saying if the game is pixel mapped, then yes, it will look sharper on that 2160p screen. So here's where I'm getting at, which I think could be really awesome. Think of what you could do in 4K. Like those scan lines, you have more lines of resolution to emulate scan line. It's possible that you could have an amazing experience if you really lean into that technology.
So those are like potential high points. Those are kind of
so.
like just possibilities because we don't know exactly what the implementation will look like of these. So I think the more you talk about aspect ratio, it makes me want to take more shots. But I do see now more of the reasoning, because my first thought was just like, why would you need it for retro gaming? But I would be excited to play Street Fighter 6 on an arcade cabinet, and this allows you to really have that experience set up. And I don't have a permanent ALU setup, so this actually is something on my radar that maybe I will pick up, because there are some modern gaming things I would like to play on a cabinet. Like King of Fighters 15, Street Fighter 6. Those would be great cabinet things to put on.
Yeah, my take on it is totally different. One arcade. AtGames doesn't make products every year, right? This is something they're going to have for a while, 4 years or so, right? So why wouldn't you go 4K? Again, the
good point.
Their whole philosophy is whatever games come with it, that's not really what they're selling their products for. So it's for the people that's adding to it. They're adding a computer to it, they're adding a PlayStation to it, whatever they're adding to it, whatever they're bringing to the cabinet, that's where the quality of the components is gonna shine, not with what what they're building into it. So we gotta look at their customer. Their customer is not the person that's going in to the store looking at the game list and saying, "Oh boy, I want that." They're saying, I can be able to add my own products to this to make it better. So I think those customers are going to enjoy that 4K. And again, the monitor I'm looking at is 4K, but how much percentage of the time am I watching 4K on it? But I bought it in 2022. I would expect 4K as opposed to anything less. So it's a few things you have to weigh in with that.
Carl, can I ask you a personal question?
Yes, sir.
What do your gremlins look like in 4K?
They're awesome. You can see the sweat on the skin.
Yeah, so, there's some interesting comments here. So we got, what is the megahertz? I looked it up real quick. So we have, here's the ALP, and it kind of shows the verses. We got the Rock 3399, which is the previous version of the ALP. Then they're jumping up to the RK 3588, and just a quick search took me to Tom's Hardware website. You guys remember that website? From this guy's been around forever. And what does he say? It's like a 2.4 right here, a quad core 2.4. I think this might make it the highest powered. Yeah, I think this makes it the highest powered chip in the home arcade space at this point.
So compatible
Just
to
when
a
it looks
Raspberry
at,
Pi 4. Sorry, compatible.
that's what it said.
Right there, such as a Raspberry Pi 4. So
Yeah, that's what it says.
So, guys, there's a
it has 8
YouTube channel.
cores. Okay, go ahead.
There's a YouTube channel I watch sometimes. This guy Nostalgia, and it's funny because like about a month ago, he covered this chipset and the amazing things you could do through emulation.
Wow.
But yet he swears he doesn't work for AtGames. But then all of a sudden, later on, like a month later, they announce these new machines using the same chips. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does make you wonder. I mean, his LinkedIn says he doesn't work there anymore, but we'll see.
His LinkedIn says a bunch of stuff.
And here's another good point. Papa Brad says a 4K pinball and a multicade that plays thousands of games will sell well. Also, here's that key thing I wanted to highlight. The LCD marquee is amazing. I think this is one of the times that I wish AtGames did this more, but I think they did it now. They're trying to make it turnkey, more turnkey. So since the ALU came out originally, there's been all of these upgrades from the community. Essentially started with the community, these modifications, and then they started selling products to do modifications. I feel like the ALP is the same thing. Like the pinball machine came out, and they didn't want to be like shown up by the brick in I'm thinking of not the
Buy
brick.
Stuff
It's
Store.
Buy Stuff Store. It's like I haven't even opened my ALP back box from Buy Stuff Store yet, and there's already one coming on the market that's going to be turnkey. Like you buy it and it
ish.
It's better,
Okay,
but
you
it's
tell me.
still not gonna be as good.
So that one back there has a giant screen, no Legends pinball marquee, and then an included third screen. This new one is going to have a much bigger screen in it, apparently, slightly bigger, but it says there's a third screen option, but that's with the inclusion of the BitPixel HV. So your DMD is still going to be above the screen itself. So it's not going to be in the proper placement, right? I love the BitPixel HV when I had the old back box because it did provide that third screen option for Visual Pinball and Pinball FX, but technically you do want it like just above the pinball action where it's in place. You're not looking up and down while playing pinball.
yeah.
Can you do that
that's
again, Mike? Closer to your mic.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you get up on your chair again?
All right. So, geez, come on. Let's not do that. Okay. So here's what I'd like to chat about. Let's go around the horn. The picture that they're showing us so far is not final. It's for reference only, subject to change. I want to go back to the thought of, is this the pro we've been asking for from Arcade 1-Up or even iArcade that AtGames is going to come around and actually deliver? I don't know. We don't know what the price is. But here's what I'd like to ask. What would you like to see changed in this design that would make you go, they finally get it?
Someone else go first.
I'll go. I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I mean the obvious thing is the shape of the cabinet. I mean that you can't get away. That was the issue with the ALP as well as the ALU. They just didn't have the shape right for the product that they're releasing for. So I would hope that they're going to change that shape. I don't have any confidence that they will. Not with the ALU. Look at the ALP. Obviously they have.
What do you think, B?
Yeah, I was pretty much gonna go the same route and kind of hopefully hope that they do consider putting together something that looks like maybe this. There's a couple of different cabinet kits from Game Room Solutions that has versions of this. Yeah, and so this is just a sample from Game Room Solutions that has kind of pre-made kits that are just different shape designs. And if it looks like any of these, like even this cab, right, or this cabinet, like just something that looks a little bit more arcadey, maybe not the roundish design. If they're open to a brand new design and it looks more arcade-ish, yeah, just something that we resemble to add that nostalgia factor. Any of these shapes, I feel like would be a big upgrade. So I don't know. I feel like Game Room Solutions steals stuff all the time. Steal design back and take some inspiration here. And oh man, like this almost looks like a dynamo type of a cabinet. I don't know. I think something like this. Just trying to give some thoughts on options they can go with in terms of a cabinet design. But I'm with you, Carl. I want to see a brand new cabinet design that looks something like this. I think that would look fantastic. So just some thoughts.
It's a good point. We got Ezekiel with the super chat. He goes, "Hey guys, what's up?" What's up, Ezekiel? Good to see you, man. No, I totally agree with you, B. Let me swap over. I've been getting emails from the arcade guys. I somehow got into their distribution. Watch out, B. Stealing is never good.
I know. Game Room Solutions, guys.
Yeah, so the arcade guys, I was pulled in because I was like, whoa, they sent this email that was like, we got a sale going on right now. We had this 32-inch arcade for $7.99. I was like, what? Okay, let me look into it. It's on sale. And you go into it, and I guess it's on sale, but on this site now it shows a higher price. I don't know. But it's a 32-inch screen. And I believe when you get into the selections, it's not going to be turnkey like the AtGames, but it does come with a lot more than I suspected. But even this, I'm looking at this shape. That's not the shape that I necessarily want.
No, that's the ALU right now.
Yeah,
no,
but a bit more rounded.
It's a little bit more like what the Midway and Capcom Legacy Legacy looked like. That's
The
more
wings.
like that. What it is, yeah.
yeah.
It still looks thin, unless I'm just not getting a good angle on it.
Yeah, let's see what let's pull this out and let's continue around.
So can I go?
Yeah,
Or-
I'm trying to.
am I-
You're next, buddy.
Yeah, shoot.
It's me. Anyways, get your notepads out at games if you're listening. So I agree with the other co-hosts. I think one of the biggest opportunities for improvement with your machine is, in fact, the form factor. It's one that's constantly been said to you again and again and again. The arcade does a lot, but people just don't like the look of it. And one of the big thing is that swan neck design, especially where it's so thin. Coming out with a more boxier design, a lot like what they showed from, or what was the name of it?
Game Room Solution.
Game Room Solutions. According to Restology, you team that with an Xbox Series S and you've got a serious beast on your hands. Anyways, a more boxier design for your cabinet, something that's a more representative of a classic arcade would be a start. Get rid of the games on the front of the kick panel. Take the hint from what Arcade 1-Up did. No one likes those. Just do a plain black front panel. Put some kind of faux AtGames coin door on there. And
Yes.
save yourself a lot of trouble with those art. Do that. Your 24-inch screen, make that rotatable just like you did with the Legends Ultimate Mini. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. People love playing vertical games on the AtGames Legends Ultimate. Just make it usable. Figure out some way to make that screen rotatable. And then last but not least, that's really it, guys. You don't have to do anything with it. No, listen to me. I don't know if you have to do a lot with the side art. Like, I think it's great that you're offering these customizable panels. You can keep doing that, but most people in their arcade rooms have their arcades jammed up against other arcades. They're not going to see the side panels. We're not so much worried about that, but you've added the bit LCD marquee. That provides all the nostalgia that people are going to look for. Maybe think about some cabinet skins as well for the control panel, bezel, and that's it. You've got yourself a winner on your hands. Spec-wise, what the cabinet can do, it's awesome. Now, the other thing I would throw in there for playing retro games, I do kind of get a little bit taken out of it playing it sometimes on a wide screen with just the little screen in there, but I understand that you're future-proofing so people can hook their PC up to it. I get that. And, of course, to make it rotatable. So that's all my feedback. That's what I'd like to see from the machine.
Speaking
That's
of the
very good.
skins, do you think they could take advantage of any of their licenses and do skin cabinets that make it like give you that nostalgia factor?
I think that's where it gets tricky. That's where you get caught up in kind of where iArcade and Arcade 1-Up get stuck sometimes, because if you come up with a cabinet skin that doesn't sell well, you're kind of stuck. I do like if they can make the acrylic side panels and the acrylic side panel holders cheaper, that is such a great idea to let people just basically slide in whatever skin they want. It's not like a sticker or a vinyl job that, like, basically you're going to be left with bubbles in it if you're incompetent like myself. So they've got to figure out some way to just make it a little bit cheaper to add a custom skin to the machine.
Because
I agree because the people's interest is so unique when it comes to the graphics. You'd be better off just having black with maybe some pattern or something that just screams arcade.
Right.
But yeah, people and the reality is the things that most people want are licensed products that you're better off just leaving that to a third party to, play with those licenses or skirt around the license, however you want to look at it. I would prefer just some type of arcade type of design and let people go and get their own graphics, because the third party in this home arcade is somebody's going to come to bat to make those things available affordably. So I would just bring an excellent cabinet and leave the design to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's I mean, they're doing that with the PCB anyway. So you see what I did there? I see a lot of people just like sideload. Anyway, here's my thought on it. Like, when you take a look at this machine, if there's just one thing, because I think between the rest of you guys, you covered all of the ideas that I had. If you take a look at it, I'd say slap a coin door on there could be like the simplest thing that they could do. To be like, you know what? We're just going to put a coin door on it. Screw it. And don't care if, we weren't the first to do it. We're trying to like make it closer to an original cabinet. You have to give them, pointers for sure by saying, you know what, we're going to make you don't have to worry about modding. You don't have to buy, like an add-on for that marquee. It's just going to come shipped. That's why I say turnkey, right? This is genius, where they're just like all the things that we've developed over the years, we're just throwing it all in this new machine. It'll probably cost a little bit more, but if you haven't adopted an AtGames yet, like, it could be really easy to be like, I'm totally going to get the Legends Ultimate 4KP because it has everything that I would have spent weekends trying to get this setup and that setup, like, already in place. But I still think, even on a multicade, you want to make it look more like a real arcade. Like, I think we haven't yet seen it, like a machine that has hundreds of games on it that just looks like more like an original arcade.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of coin doors. I like to put quarters in it, but even if you don't put quarters in it, it just makes so much sense. And a lot of people who, poo-pooed on the whole idea, now that they have cabinets with those faux coin doors, like, man, why wouldn't you have this? And when you light them up, it's like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you light these things up? They just automatically take you back and make it so authentic, even if they're not operating. So the coin door is a no-brainer. If you're going to come out with a new cabinet, it just makes sense to do it. Even if it's an optional, they're doing other options. If it's an optional that you want to pay extra, if they can't afford to put it in to the original one. But coin doors, faux, should be the standard in today's arcade.
Did you like the coin door they put on the AOP?
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
It was an interesting attempt. It's kind of like not sized properly. Is
right, because the whole front of the cabinet is not sized properly, so therefore
they had to make it squish. So I mean, you had something. It was molded. It was 3D printed at the very least. It was better than Arcade One Up's attempt at their coin door on the
sticker.
Their version of Pinball. Remember the Arcade One Up Pinball had like a really weird, like front door that really wasn't. It was just like an empty square. So I think you have bones of exactly a molded coin door you could use, but it has to be. I think it's big enough to do almost like 4 coin doors, right? Like a double, something like that. It would look a little bit weird with just one, because of the size of the panel. I think it would be.
And even with the, say with the pinball, you have the option of, say, the dollar acceptor, faux dollar acceptor as opposed to coin. And you have some other things that you can do. I think that'd be more acceptable than just putting the billboard
tokens, little AtGames tokens, real tokens. There you go. It can work with the initiative that they have, right? What was the initiative where they were going to have them in retail places? It was
that? Oh, that's right. Remember AtGames commercial?
The AtGames commercial stuff.
Did they do that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if they ever did.
I don't know.
I don't. I think this product. I'm gonna call it ALU 2.0 because I've been screaming that since day one.
For sure.
I think if they went into commercial businesses with that 1.0, those people were poo-pooing on that. Like, no, man, that don't really look like a pinball. So I think that 2.0, it really, I think the initial or push for it has come from their efforts to go into commercial.
Oh, interesting.
Can we just take a step back and go back to the ALU again? And I want to talk more about the rotatable screen on the ALU itself. The idea of doing
Tate mode.
Yeah, they call it
It's
portrait. They focus on portrait
It's short
and landscape
for rotate.
orientation.
You don't say rotate.
Rotate. So,
Rotate.
anyways, one of the things that, since this is being built around the pinball ecosystem, I'm telling you right now, nobody wants to play the pinball in horizontal mode. Nobody wants to do that. Right. You've got to add the rotatable screen, because with the vertical mode, it's right now with the AtGames Legends Ultimate Mini, with that screen in vertical mode, is probably the second best way to play pinball in the entire AtGames ecosystem. So if you're putting a 4K screen in, you're doing all this for pinball, at least make the screen rotatable so we can put it up and have the same kind of pinball experience on an even bigger screen on the ALU.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Michael.
That's interesting.
My ALU I have coin ops on it, but I have 0 vertical games on it because I just hate playing vertical games that way. So if they allowed that to rotate, then bam, I would
game changer, man.
No problem playing those verticals on that
game changer. And then I won't shit on the fact that the screen isn't the correct aspect ratio for playing vertical games. I promise this time.
Okay, I'd like to switch the topic a little bit, but still in this same space. So what do you guys think about what this announcement of AtGames coming out with an entirely new lineup? Like, that's the way I see it. Like Carl is saying, this is like their 2.0. It came out in like 2019 with some of these arcade stuff. They developed it over time, and they're like, you know what? Here's our 2.0, and they drop it full surprise. I think that's why they fired Nostalgia. He was the source of all the leaks. And now there wasn't any leaks. It was just like a good surprise. What do you think Arcade 1UP and iArcade are thinking right now?
Welcome to the party.
I think Arcade 1UP probably doesn't care because this doesn't impact what they're doing. This doesn't put an onus on them to get newer screens or anything like that. I mean, they're doing their own thing. So I think Arcade 1UP's got to focus on their own problems right now and getting back on track, getting stock cleared out of retail, getting new stock out there. iArcade, on the other hand, does have a concern because iArcade promote themselves as having the most powerful home arcade console. Uh-huh. And now with this new chipset, that's no longer true. So this is more direct competition for iArcade than it is directly for Arcade 1UP.
That's interesting. What do you think, B?
Yeah, the announcements coming around National Owners Day, which is several days and happens twice a year, is still confusing. But
B, don't start this again. You can't get thrown out of any more influencer groups. Perfect. He froze.
B just froze.
The internet does not lie.
Just right there. Okay. So B is saying,
all right, I'm back.
Oh,
I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
Well, all right, sorry.
Able to make fun of him.
Okay. I know. They just, as soon as you said that, I got hacked, and I was like, no, cut me off. I do like the fact that it's an upgrade for the lineup. The other companies, again, to your point, may not be competing directly, but I feel like AtGames is almost competing with itself now with that whole upgrade mentality. Because Arcade 1UP did that for a while, right? You buy a version of an arcade, now do I have to upgrade to this better version? And now they're at a point where, I think every company had done a version of that iArcade Gold. Now this is like truly the next, like, am I going to get rid of my original one? I'm sure all of you that have original ALUs now are like, is it worth the upgrade?
Yeah.
And for folks that are jumping into it now, it's like a good time. So it's now competing in entering that I'm in the upgrade conundrum. So for me, I would be interested in the potential for Science, the ALU 4K, because I don't have the upright version of it. Yeah. I would be interested in the upgrade kit for my Legends Pinball because I'm not reinvesting more time into a full-out 4K pinball, but I might do
that's the crazy one. I would suggest to anybody, if there was one of those AtGames products you would upgrade, it's the pinball. We didn't really get
True.
into the full
Good.
conversation about the pinball
About
outside
the
of the back box not being perfect.
Yeah, but
The
I already spent
innovation they did with the
so
pinball
much
machine is everything I've
time.
always wanted.
There's so much time already put into this. So like
Mine too,
the
man.
but you didn't put a freaking like legend like Star Trek The Next Generation pinball and have
No,
all the
because I'm not a
redesign
virgin.
stuff.
Oh my god.
More crotch shot.
Just for you.
Oh,
But
No,
yeah, I don't know.
I understand that. You got it pimped out, but I do want to talk about that. The 4K screen, that's been the number one complaint. Well, I know people are going to complain about this because it's still 60 frames per second. People were hoping for a higher refresh rate for pinball, but 4K pinball is pretty much the standard for like the home build market. Like anybody who builds like a dedicated virtual pin machine in their house, they're going 4K.
Yeah.
More improved chipset hopefully means better performance on the games. But what I really like about it is it's coming stock out of the gate now with a more boxier design. They're adding more inches to the bottom, so it looks more like a traditional pinball machine. It's going to look more like, for example, the Arcade 1-Up pinball machine. Then on top of that, they've also added an extra 2 inches to the legs. They're saying it's 4 inches, but I heard it was 2. So 4 inches to the legs, which is going to make an absolute huge difference because that old pinball machine, I guess it's 2 inches on the bottom, that they're 4 inches on the bottom, they're adding to the box and 2-inch longer legs. There it is. So the problem with the ALP, the biggest one I had, was it's so low. Even with the casters and the foot levelers maxed out, I mean, the machine was so low, like I would constantly be bending over to play it. I added the Sega Stern legs, gave me an extra couple inches, and it's been a great experience. Now people are going to get that out of the gate. They don't have to do that mod.
Right.
To me, this is the one that I think is the most improved. I don't like the side art as much because
Yeah.
it's a lot like the micro pinball. These are all made up games that the art is for. It's not exactly images from the real back boxes like they did with the original ALP with the Gottlieb tables. But then again, I mean, if you don't like it, you can just change out the art. Buy Stuff Store, I'm sure, will have skins that you can put on. You can deal with Zabo. Where did you get your skin from, B?
I had a custom made, designed, and printed by Gulf Coast Decals.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's a one of a kind. I don't think anybody has a Star Trek The Next Generation AOP. But man, just it would take so much effort.
Oh,
to-
B, it looks amazing. Phasers set to stunning.
No, it's totally worth
Yeah.
being a virgin for this cabinet. Totally worth it. But you
Here-
got me thinking hardcore. I have a question for Justin though. Just
Yeah.
regarding gameplay. If somebody did the upgrade kit and you could play like the newish tables, like what would the upgrade kit be for if the hardware is still older? Like what would that benefit? Do you know? Like are the
Right.
games going
I think I
to-
see what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
talking about like,
if the monitor
so
is
you
still
still have
1080p,
a
it's maxed out.
a
Yeah.
32-inch 1080 screen.
Yeah. So what is the
Uh,
upgraded kit gonna be? Like who's the user base for that then?
That's a good
Even with
point.
the old ALU?
I don't know with the ALP. I know with the ALU it makes sense because if you watch this guy Ristalcha's videos again, the emulation abilities of this chip that they're putting into the ALU make it possible to play games up until PS2. I think there was some Xbox that was also capable. So like there's amazing things you can do with emulation. But for a pinball perspective, other
Yeah,
than
but-
adding the new UI,
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's an upgrade kit for the pinball too, right?
Yeah, that's.
But
an
I don't know what it
interesting one.
does.
Yeah, so this one is for the ALU. It's $349. I would say this is your market. If you just want to upgrade your ALU 1.1 or 1.2 to this, and your alternatives $349. Like you could get a PC, right? But you just want something turnkey. This is probably going to be easier to upgrade because you just unplug and plug in, and then you know, AtGames does make it easy to sideload things. So maybe for those users that are not familiar with like a Pi 4 image or a PC image, they're like, I'll just pay the $349. But I wonder if they don't even really care about actually selling this product.
Oh,
They're
they do.
just what I mean is it's what's more important is that they tell their customers we
There's
have an
an
upgrade
option.
path for you. Here's an option.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the gesture is worth more than the value of the actual end result. It's like it's really cool that AtGames did all of these things. Like I don't think anyone's done it. No one said like look
People
at
ask
the
for the
IRK gold.
IRK.
They're like you have
Exactly.
to get the gold. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean they didn't say
exactly.
that, but there was no you could kind of upgrade your way to
Oh
it.
no, I got a specific letter in the mail that was marked anonymous that was done in like newspaper print and magazine clippings cut out that said "Get gold or die." No one else got that.
I got that one too.
It's in my junk mail.
Yeah, that was a very weird message.
I did not feel safe.
No, I kind of disagree with a lot of the people when it comes to this. I think Arcade 1-Up and iArcade pay very close attention to their competition, and this will have an impact. I think John D at Arcade 1-Up, the only employee there, by the way. So
It's true now.
it's basically him running the entire company. He's probably, I bet they have meetings and they're like, yes, the Pro 2.0, we got to rethink it. Whatever this next Pro is, we got to think it through. I think this impacts heavily. I think the entire reason they put high-end speakers in the Pro was because of iArcade. Because iArcade's like, we have better speakers. And he's like, how about Yamaha? And so AtGames is all like, oh, 24-inch 4K screen. And John D's going to be like, yeah, I don't know how to they're 4x3. How do you get 4K on that?
I don't know if Arcade 1-Up needs a 4K screen. I don't think that really plays into it.
Doesn't matter. You get my point, right?
I do.
They're flipping out is what I'm saying.
I don't think they're flipping out because this isn't a Pro. This is a great upgrade, but this isn't a Pro cabinet. I think that Arcade 1-Up absolutely looked at the iArcade Gold as competition for whatever a Pro line would be with, the 19-inch monitor, the power, all that stuff, the better wood. And I think they've taken that into consideration. And I think their next Pro, if they do another one, will take some hints from the iArcade and offer that. But I don't know if this translates to something that Arcade 1-Up really should be looking at. Maybe people will disagree with me, but
no, I hear what you're saying there. I think that's a different question.
Other than, hey, we should probably put more powerful chips in our machines going forward. I don't know if there's much to take from this upgrade on the ALU.
Yeah, I think the Pro obviously has some room for improvement. They gave you HDMI out, but no audio out.
Yeah.
So they got that information well before this announcement, and so they definitely have to make that adjustment for the next Pro. And so whether that needs a newer chipset or a higher chipset or not, but they definitely have to make some improvements to the Pro.
Yeah, I agree with that, Carl. I don't think they're really worried about this for their next Pro model because they got enough feedback on things that were wrong with the first Pro.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike, in the sense that do they need to come out with something? I think Arcade 1-Up has some challenges with the screen size. They're at 17-inch. They could do 19-inch. They've done that with the Pro. So the XL, but there's not a lot of options for them to go larger without really making it expensive. If you go look on the market for those 26-inch monitors, they're pretty expensive. And here's a super chat from 19K Fox where your money has no value here. Now I have to pay you back. So watch 19K Fox on Sunday because I'll be doing a $4.99 super chat.
Why wouldn't you just buy Robert Foxworth from Cincinnati, Ohio, a beer when he comes to Iowa to see you?
I'm just gonna give him my Star Wars arcade machine. That's okay.
Wow.
So keep the.
What kind of car does he drive, Mike?
Keep the super chats coming, 19K Fox, because that Star Wars Sega Trilogy arcade machine is yours. All you have to do is come pick it up sometime when it's not snowing. And wouldn't you believe it, we have an interesting character who just joined us. Oh, let me finish the super chat, and then we'll bring in this narcissist. It's, are we looking at the new bit battle from the console era? where these home arcade with these home arcade companies. What do you guys think? Is this the new bit battle? Let's bring in Nostalgia here.
Oh man, there's the definition of a narcissist right there.
I told you.
I'm okay with that. I heard my name called a few times, and I figured I should come in here and at least.
You saw the nostalgia signal up in the sky?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I was watching, and you guys kept doing some call-outs, so figured I would join.
No, when
So
somebody talks about nostalgia, his hair starts to tingle, and his you know.
Do you know if you say nostalgia 5 times in a bathroom mirror, your back will grow full of hair?
The lights have to be off, though. You got to get the lights off for that.
So let's. What do you guys think? 19K Fox threw $5 down. Let's give him some value back. What this bit battle? What do you think? We're hitting that with home arcade now.
I don't think it's a bit battle so much as it's a chipset battle. I think that that's where they're competing on. Like, I think Arcade 1-Up, if they ever plan to go back and do pinball again, are looking at this new chipset that AtGames is going to be putting in the Legends Pinball 4KP and saying, yeah, we got to get on that. Because obviously one of the crucial pieces of feedback that they put out there was what they offered for pinball, the 720p offerings weren't cutting it. So they need a more powerful chipset in their pinball table.
I was thinking the same thing. Like what AtGames is doing with this Legends Pinball 4K, it's kind of interesting because it's like we've heard rumors that Zen Studio might be coming out with their own machine. What that entails, we don't really know. Do they have an exclusive contract with Arcade 1-Up? We don't know. Like, I've heard someone suggest that, but I don't know if that's true. I don't really know how that would work. Because maybe they could just be like, we're going to make our own. You can't stop us from making our own. We're not partnering with anybody else. But does this Legends Pinball now compete with that unreleased Zen Studio more commercial feel? I mean, this is going to be 4K pinball. Thoughts?
You kind of put two things out there. You want to just talk about the Fox's thing, and then we're picking.
Yeah, I'm
here.
sorry. No one was biting on the Fox thing, so we just moved on.
Well, I do want to say, I mean, it's just the natural evolution. Initially, the games that say Arcade 1-Up was releasing was the 80s games, right? The 80s those games don't require any, heavy power in the back. As you start to move into the, the KI, you're doing the football with the NFL Blitz. These games are just, by the nature of the evolution of the arcade, it's gotten more powerful. So obviously those chipsets are going to have to get a little more powerful as we go into the more, I'm not going to say modern, but less, the older 80s. Moving from the 80s to 90s to 2000, that's just a natural progression.
Yeah, but Arcade 1-Up don't need to move any further. They actually need to go backwards and do more 80s stuff. That's the problem.
They said they were catering to the 30-year-olds, so that's
I don't know who they're marketing towards. Hey, 27-year-olds.
Yeah. So the other thing about the bit wars was like there was visual differences in the bit wars that you could see. So it's like easier for the consumer to understand the difference between 16-bit, 32-bit something. Here, like I don't even know if any company ever goes to that level of details on specs. I think like AtGames, the niche that they're actually marketing to is a small community of people like modders, emulation, whores like Nostalgia that are like, oh, rock chip 33, 55, 23 or something. That are like, yeah, that's great, because the average person isn't gonna care, right? So like I think in the bit wars, like the marketing side of it was huge because the simplest person could see the differences. But whenever I have to like look at the details of what that's like promoting, it's not the general population that they're promoting to. I don't think the casual audience is going to be like, oh, 4K rock chip 2566 is going to be like the best new thing out there.
So do you think AtGames should just basically take all that information out and basically just say they have blast processing?
Yeah, there we go. Like we can emulate 32-bit now.
Yes.
So Nostalgia, you haven't said anything for a while.
What do you want me to say? I mean,
just stare straight into your camera lens and don't say anything for a solid 10 seconds. Ready?
Can you please
shut up, Mike?
Is everyone uncomfortable?
And there we
now?
have it.
Those 10
Can
seconds.
you
Those more like 20
please divulge to the audience under threat of death your relationship with AtGames?
That's right. You have to do your disclaimers really quick. We're going to put you on solo. Go ahead.
Sure. I worked with AtGames over a year ago. So that ended over a year ago. And I worked with them for about 14 months, I think, on off projects here and there. But I don't work with AtGames anymore.
Bullshit.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Why do you always gotta be so mysterious?
behind you?
You literally were passing around my LinkedIn profile on
He was.
Facebook.
He was.
Like, I have a new job. I work there full time. What do you think? I fly out to AtGames on weekends? Like, what?
Oh, you're such a healthaholic.
Well, no, here's what's funny. Carl O mentions the NDA. So I signed an NDA with AtGames as well. I was there for 3 months. Nostalgia replaced me. He's much better than me. But what's interesting about it is their NDA had like an expiration, which was pretty cool.
Yep.
It's like, so
most
it's like
NDAs have an expiration. They
no,
should
it
have
was
an
the first one I ever said that was like clearly stated. So
yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm pretty
I don't
it's
know
2
if your
years,
NDA
so.
is expired, but how much does this cost?
I don't have any of that information. I don't
That's
have any of
gonna
that
cost-
information.
I don't have that information either, but I can tell you it's going to cost $1,000 for the ALU.
You think so?
Yeah, that's my guess.
I
$1,000
think that's
US.
a pretty good guess. I mean, when we look at the upgrade kit is going to cost what, $350? I think is the regular price. So that's just for the board. Then they're going to be putting in a 4K monitor. You're getting the BitPixel LCD. You're getting like all of the upgrades. And if their base price is $599 at Sam's, and you stack all of these extra things, I think you're probably like $899, $999 price point is what I think it's going to sit at.
What do you guys think that ALP is going to be at?
I think Biggie D is pretty close. My guess is $12.99.
Yeah, we're looking at what's the current retail price, $699 at that.
Keep going.
What's the current one? $749?
I think it's $7.99, isn't it?
$799? Okay, so if it's currently $800, and then we're going up to 4K screen, upgraded chipset, you're going to be probably $1,000, $1,100 to $1,200. That's pretty spot on, is my guess too.
$7.99 for the Legends Pinball currently.
So, okay, yeah. So then realistically, you're looking somewhere between $1,100 and $1,200.
You know, it'd be killer. I want to get your guys' thoughts. What would be like and obviously $1 is not the answer, but what's the price for the ALP and the ALU? That would just be killer. It's like basically that lowest $100 mark. That was just like, I can't believe it's that price.
ALU $5.99, ALP $7.99 for the
basically the same price as their current models.
Yeah,
I would say ALP $699.
Man, that's tough. It's not going to be that.
Of course
unfortunately.
can't be.
No.
Sam's Club in 3 years. It'll
Right.
There you
That's
go.
the good
There
thing.
you go.
That's the good thing is Sam's Club is a factor there, and that makes the price fluctuate based on their need to get rid of to clear the space.
So we can find out what their cost is. Nostalgia, how much did you sell the rock chips to them for?
Like, I've got a big pile of them behind me. I was just sending them over.
We brought it up earlier. It was just very convenient that you reviewed
here's the
this
thing.
product and then they're using it like a month later.
Okay, the rock chip has been out on the market for like a year,
No,
and there's
specifically this one that you reviewed that's now in their devices.
that's the new rock chip that everyone's using. It's on the Orange Pi 5, man, and the Rock Pi that's just came out. It's all
my Rock Pi.
Whatever it is. That chipset.
Would you say they made a lot of them, so then it makes a lot of sense that a company would use something that has high stock?
I think it's going to be the gold standard in terms of like Android boxes that are going to be coming out. It's super powerful, and I think it makes sense in terms of what it's capable of doing and the direction that all of these sort of devices are going. I have no idea, though. I think the biggest issue is that in order for this product to be reasonably priced, that chip has to scale massively. And it's going to have to scale in a larger way than AtGames could ever come to the table with it. So you got to see big companies getting on board producing this in a lot of devices in order to get that price point down.
I have an idea on how we can find out more information about all of this. So there was some planning of a potential trip to the Los Angeles area sometime this year, and then we could all go to El Segundo, which is where AtGames headquarters is, and just knock on the door and be like, "Hey, PK and Nostalgia, let us in and tell us more information." We could see maybe. And I don't think anybody's ever done like a behind the scenes tour, but
dude, why don't you go? You live in the same town as AtGames.
He can't go. He's not allowed.
I would love to go. That's, I'd love to make up and say, rescind my original thing that I would not cover Nod anymore, because that's the only thing I said in that thread, was that I would no longer be covering National Owners Day news. And then
you said some nasty things about everybody in that. Like, honestly, it was like that scene in Half Baked when the guy quit. That's what it was like.
Through Flip the Table, I did say, "You care more about your bottom dollar than your customers. This is wrong. And I will not be covering National Owners Day anymore." And then I did like 6 months later and did a tier video about it. So I'm on with it. I will apologize and be like, "All right, let me back in. I think my NDA is still active. Let me know. I'll go on their door and knock on them and be like, 'Hey, AtGames, El Segundo.'" They literally live 5 miles from my house. But that would be fun, right? Like,
we're going to Cleveland now.
Cleveland.
Yeah, in September, right?
Yeah, we are.
Or really? Portland, one of the two, right?
No, we're not going to Portland. No.
When's the next trip happening? My wife was just asking me, like,
September.
we're doing an annual thing.
Well, definitely September. Might be before then. We'll see how I'm doing financially.
Okay.
I'm poor.
Good point. What do you guys think of this? With the OTG, does the chipset even matter?
Overthink Gaming? I don't know. We could ask them.
Like, you know what? We should get 19K Fox to just be like, "Hey, why don't you buy the old AtGames Legends Ultimate and then upgrade the monitors to 4K? Go find us a monitor that's like exactly the same like size, and we'll just fit right in there." Be like, I'm gonna upgrade to the 4KP on my own.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't you and B drive to Indiana and buy him the old Legends?
That was good times, man. It's so crazy. Like me and B have done, I think out of all the content creators that I've worked with, B and I have done the craziest stuff together.
Yes, and imagine if you had just let other people into your room in Chicago, what other extra stuff that you two
I told that story to my mom,
you?
or I'm sorry, not my mom. I did not tell my mom.
So you have a weird relationship with your mom.
Never mind.
And Nostalgia and Carl will be there this year, right? Right? We're committing you to be there?
No.
As long as you guys commit to a date.
I'm sorry, Nostalgia. What's the crime rate not fit your portfolio, your risk?
That's exactly
portfolio?
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's all about the crime rate.
Chicago, he's like, "I've read some bad things."
That is not why it didn't come terrible. Are you serious?
That's what he said to us. He was like, "I don't know. I'm nervous about going there."
Oh God,
this is very true. Okay. I've cuddled with B 3 times.
Yes, and it was beautiful.
It was. Anyway, so back to AtGames. We got a few more minutes before we end the show. I think an hour will be just fine. Final thoughts time. What do you guys think?
Well,
AtGames.
No, wait. Slow down there. We got Nostalgia on here, and we're not going to talk about the handheld.
Oh yeah, the Voyager.
Fine.
I mean, we can't not talk about the handheld.
Did you have anything to do with the Voyager Nostalgia?
No, I had nothing to do with it. I actually had no idea that they were doing a handheld. Way off my radar. Was not
He
expecting
told me
it.
6 times before the announcement they were doing a handheld.
Let's hear what Nostalgia has to say. So that rock chip.
You like to mod your handhelds to be able to play other games. This should be right up your alley, right?
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting because the way that AtGames likes to release their products is if it works for one thing, they want it to work for everything. So with the new arcade machine that's coming out, that's going to be 4K with the RK33, 3588.
And we're calling it the ALU 2.0, right?
ALU 2.0. You got it, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
The new pinball machine that's coming out with the same SoC. and then this handheld.
That's the ALU 2.0, right?
That's exactly right, man.
That's
It's the
right,
ALU
that's right.
2.0. I will concede to that, Carl. I think that this is going to be interesting to see whether or not you can get a bunch of those games running through RetroArch cores right in their Add-on X program. And that's where I think the differentiator, I think somebody had commented earlier, like, what's the benefit of having this upgraded chipset if you've got OTG, right? If you can plug in your PC into your arcade, what's the benefit? Well, the benefit is that you can run everything off of the USB through the main UI. You can use the CoinOps front end, and it's nice and clean. You just press a power button on your machine, and there's all your games. So it's just clean and simple. You don't have to mess around with connecting other devices. With the handheld, I think the success of that handheld is going to, as much as AtGames can put out whatever licensed stuff through their app store, it's going to really depend on what the community is able to develop and put together for cores and the UCE files that actually are able to run through that chipset.
So you're excited because you're going to have a lot more content.
Possibly. I don't know. I am
Tons of Harry on.
I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. And I mean, realistically, the first thing I'm going to try to do is get a PS2 game running on it. The PS2 can run beautifully on this chipset.
Not a Dreamcast game? You traitor.
No, we'll do Dreamcast for sure.
I know what Nostalgia knows his audience. His PS2 audience is that's what they ask on every video, every comment. But can it run PS2? He's going to deliver.
Can it run 3DO? Can I play Sewer Shark on it?
The moment I heard that this AtGames thing was coming out, I wanted to comment in the group. I wanted to be like, I can't wait for Nostalgia's how to mod your Voyager in 2023.
So one of the other things about the Voyager that I'm really excited about, and I talked about this in my video, was the ability for them to possibly turn it into, what do they call it? Portrait orientation, they call it, but Tate mode, we call it. Rotate. Tate mode.
Rotate, you got it. It's
fine,
Tate.
Just
yeah.
go
So,
with it.
anyways, being able to actually take this thing, take the handheld when it comes out, and play it vertically like you can do with the Evercade EXP, and then they say they're going to include some pinball apparatus, and it's also going to have haptic feedback for pinball. Think about a little portable vertical pinball machine playing all those games. That's going to be so dope. If it does that, that's a selling point right there.
Did they actually say apparatus?
I think they said pinball attachments.
Okay, because apparatus, I'm like, oh, they're getting a patent on this for sure.
Have you ever seen Bee's apparatus?
I think we all did earlier in the stream. All right, so anything else? We got
Will the Voyager allow you to do a DS and add another screen so I can have my back glass on my pinball?
That's an awesome idea.
Did they mention anything about like HDMI out or anything like that on that handout?
Yeah, they said it's dockable, right?
If it's got a dock, then that'd be interesting. I think they also mentioned it's got a touch screen. Like, it's going to be a tablet with controls on the side of it. Like, it's going to be like a much cheaper version of the Nintendo Switch that can't do anything that the Nintendo Switch can do, but it'll run the AtGames platform, so that'll be good.
Nostalgia, are you going to be okay with this? I know that most of your docking is done in gas station bathrooms, so.
Oh my god.
Jeez. All right. That's about it. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out with us on this lovely live stream. Are you excited about the new AtGames products that are coming out? I'm excited. The reason why I'm interested is like the technology. Definitely. I bought the AtGames Legends Ultimate machine in like 2019. I got the earliest model, and I scratched that thing out of all the arcade machines that I have. That one I've destroyed the most. I don't know why. So part of me feels like it's time for an upgrade. But what do you guys think? Are you waiting for price? Are you waiting for room?
For me, it's Canadian availability. It's always one of the hard things with AtGames because we can't order direct from them. It has to go through a distributor and then come out through either buy stuff for the brick, and we always get things a little later. So I'm in the wait and see camp. I mean, for God's sakes, we just got the Legends Pinball Micro here in Canada this month. So this may come out circa 2024. Pardon?
Your arcades are starting to surround you,
Oh, I got to
literally.
make some
Yeah.
changes in my
You're
life.
like right next to
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
30th. Like,
Yeah.
man.
I've talked to my wife, and I've got her to agree to give me some room back. So these games are coming out of here.
Apparatus.
My take is one, what is the shipping going to cost? Because that's
Yes.
usually horrible at games. And two, I've already promised my wife I'm not adding anything down here. So if I can do upgrades to it, then it never happens, right? So upgrades can go be applied without blowing my cover. And I need
You get to sneak it in the
ALP.
back. Is
Yeah,
that
I
what
can
you
easily slide that. I can bring that in a shopping bag, right? So that's not going to be hard to do. So I'm excited to see what the upgrade options are for the ALP. I'm not interested for any upgrades for the ALU, but it'll be interesting to see what the pricing is, what the shipping cost is, to see if it's doable.
Yeah. What do you think, B?
For me, I have this one space that I'm looking at where my laptop is. I'm supposed to have 3 different projects sit there. And so I think I can fit all of them in the same space if I just fit them in all into my Star Wars cockpit. But I'm very intrigued with the ALU 4K now, because I sold my modded Street Fighter 2, which was like my modern PC console that I was going to play Street Fighter 5 and other stuff on. So I don't have an arcade that currently can play that. I was like, I'm just going to be resigned to play that on my computer monitor with a fight stick. And I'm like, oh, maybe this will be worth it. Can the bit LCD work with the PC games and have a Street Fighter 6 marquee? Like, is that going to be integrated?
There you go.
So I think that could be fun to play with. So for science, that one has my most intrigue. But I just, space is the enemy of us all at this point in our home arcade careers. So that's the place that is the biggest factor, more than the price for me, is what do I have to sacrifice to make room for Godzilla? I didn't even think about Godzilla Pinball coming. It's supposed to be in the same place right now too. So that's it for me.
Yeah. What do you got, Mr. Nostalgia?
I don't know. I've got the 1.1 behind me, and my thought process is like I've got the upgraded marquee. The upgrade kit is what's going to make sense for me. I'm not going to be buying a whole new cabinet for just the upgrade on the CPU. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think if you own a 1.1, it doesn't make sense to buy the whole new cabinet. It really doesn't. Unless you're going to be
gorgeous. What if they redesign the whole cabinet? You missed that.
That's a different conversation. But right now we're working under the assumption that it's going to look identical, just has the upgraded CPU. And then the 4K monitor. The nice thing to consider is that even with that CPU, there's so much that you can do with it. Like you've got the ability to run 4K, but maybe what you can do to kind of squeeze as much juice out of that CPU is rather than run the games at 4K, you run the games at 1080, you run the menu at 4K, you run the bezels at 4K, and that way you're not using the CPU, so you can actually use it for more advanced titles. And I don't know. I really think this chipset is going to do wonders for the community that wants to sideload it. So I don't know. I think it's a smart move.
It's going to do wonders for that community and wonders to bring nostalgia back to relevance on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for AtGames and Nostalgia, the partnership that will never die.
That's right. Speaking of space, I just want to tell, as we end the show, I want to tell a quick tragedy story that I'm dealing with right now. So tomorrow in Iowa, we're supposed to get a ton of snow, and I thought the winter was over, right? Like no more snow, and we don't know how many inches. Tomorrow is the day that I'm supposed to get my Jurassic Park pinball delivered, and it's gonna be like the worst blizzard here ever. Like And part of the delivery, I got it from Captain's Auction, is that, the semi-trailer is going to come, they're going to unload it at the edge of the driveway, and then, I can take possession from there. Now, I think the guy will deliver it, but I have a long driveway. Like, it's not just like a small driveway.
Oh, we know. We've seen your deck.
No, there's big yards in Iowa, okay? And anyway, like, the idea of there being, 6 inches of snow is supposed to be thick and heavy on the ground. It's just, I'm like, can they please postpone it? Because I have to take possession of it, right? Like, I can't be like, sorry, you can't. I have to take it. Do you know what I'm struggling with, right? Like,
Do you have a garage?
I have a garage, but like
So put it in the garage, baby.
It's not like Canada, where in Canada the garage is in the alley, and basically you can back up. Basically a truck can drive by, and boom, there's the garage. Because
Justin, you're getting 6 inches of snow. The last 2
no,
days,
it's supposed to be super heavy and wet, and the wind is supposed to be so big.
We got 27 and 5/8 inches the last 2 days, and you're like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this 6 inches.
Complaining about 6 inches of wet snow.
What is snow? I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I've never seen
27
this phenomenon.
and 5/8 inches of snow. I spent 3 hours climbing out of a mountain in my driveway today, and Justin's like, "Man, it's gonna be 6 inches tomorrow."
Okay, so imagine
but
you were
Mike,
getting your
yours was
Godzilla
powder,
delivered
his
on that
was
day.
wet.
That's true. Pardon? You want it. You gotta put on, that Rocky IV soundtrack, get out there with the snowblower and make it happen.
I'm
The
not.
snowblower,
No.
6 inches, man.
That's not what I'm talking about. I could be out there with the snowblower. I don't know when he's coming. It's supposed to, like, at minimum 6 inches, right? Like, certain areas, it depends on where. I don't know. The wind is crazy. Fine, whatever. Screw all of you. I hate all of you. Everyone in the chat that's making fun of you can go to hell.
If you're
Yeah,
worried,
just put down some sleds, and then you can just push it in the garage.
I was going to say, if you're so worried of the 6 inches or potentially more of snow and the timing,
And the
go out there
wetness
every couple
of
of
the snow.
hours and just shovel the 1 or 2 inches that
I'm
fall in
not
the
talking
time.
about it's going to snow tonight and I need to do the snow blowing in the morning. I'm talking about it's going to be coming down at the time they're supposed to deliver.
When you get it, you jump on top and you say, "Feel the rhythm, feel the ride."
Fine.
Get on up. It's bobsled time, pinball time.
Maybe it'll make it easier because it'll be like slicker, you know?
You know what's funny though? You're worried about 6 inches. Nostalgia's wife told me she's never worried about 6 inches. She said she's never got to worry about getting that much.
The main joke, the main concept was the timing couldn't have been any worse. Like today would have been perfect.
The thickness and the wetness. Right.
Yeah, again,
Carl
she told me she's not
understands,
worried
right?
about that either.
You were shoveling 15 times the other day, right?
Yeah, because I got to keep my driveway to the concrete.
See, and I need to do that tomorrow.
It's one day,
Justin-
man, and
Justin-
you're getting a pinball machine.
Your deck is basically the size of Idaho. You're telling me you don't have a heated driveway?
My next house will have a heated driveway, but not this one.
All right.
All right, whatever. I'm ending the stream. All you haters, get out of my stream now. See you. Bye.